Today's episode covers the day that Octopus Energy came to fit our Tesla Powerwall 3. Hi folks, G3 here. In August 2025, we had a Tesla Powerwall 3 fitted by Octopus Energy. I've covered the build up to our decision in a previous video, which you can find linked above and in the video description. Now this battery was being fitted to allow us to take advantage of super cheap overnight charging via the intelligent Octopus Go tariff that we've got for our EV charging. It currently allows us to get units at 8 pence from 11:30 at night through to 5:30 every morning. Now this is currently where 82% of our energy use comes from, thanks to the battery. Only 18% of our daily energy falls under the 33.54 pence per unit rate. We had an Octopus Cozy heat pump installed last year. To make sure the running costs were as affordable as possible, we wanted to get a battery in place, ensuring as much of our usage as possible was at the cheap rate. The equipment was delivered first thing in the morning of the install, ready for when the installers arrived. It was a well-protected bundle, which was very heavy, with the battery itself 130 kilograms. Now the Tesla Powerwall battery comes in a protective cocoon, which Octopus have to return to get their deposit back. Now the pack also includes the Tesla Backup Gateway, which manages the energy flow between the grid, battery and connected loads. There was also the heavy-duty cabling, isolator switch and other necessary items. We'd had a lightning rod fitted previously, so everything was in place ready for when the installers arrived. There were a couple of people working on the install throughout the day. We had previously debated getting the battery fitted to the rear of our car barn, but the final choice was to have it installed to the right of our Simpson & Partners EV charger, with the backup gateway being positioned to the left of our meter boxes. Because we already had the heat pump in place, the installers sensibly took time to align on how the setup needed to be performed. We'd asked for the EV charger to not be powered by the battery, as this is used off-peak and can pull directly from the network. Plus, we wanted the heat pump to be powered by the battery, so that during peak hours we could make use of the battery storage to reduce costs. This meant they needed to think carefully about the best way to fit everything, especially as there was limited space in the electricity meter cupboard, meaning the backup gateway would be utilised for additional functionality. Then they split the work, with one working on the Powerwall positioning and fixings, whilst the other was responsible for the backup gateway. I was amazed just how quickly the shell of the Powerwall battery was fixed to the wall. Specialist lifting equipment was utilised to ensure health and safety rules were followed. Once in place with the glass cover off, the necessary work could be undertaken. Now I was fascinated by the internal structure of the battery and took several photos, as I wouldn't get a chance to look inside again. The side panel of the battery had all the information about the unit itself. It has 13.5 kilowatt-hours usable capacity, is a lithium-ion battery pack, and has an operating temperature range of -20 Celsius through to +50 Celsius. Now at the same time, the other installer was working on the backup gateway and had fixed that to the wall, as well as installing a separate fuse box for the battery. A master cutoff switch was positioned near the battery, and my minor OCD was comforted by the perfect alignment of the battery top, power switch top and the existing EV charger, so top work from the installer there. The cabling was a chunky beast with limited flexibility, so the installer had his work cut out trying to seamlessly run it in from the battery pack along the side of the house to the backup gateway. He did a good job of keeping it close to the existing cabling despite the flexibility issues of the cable. Now the cable was tidied securely to the wall at regular intervals, but there were unavoidable obstacles from existing pipe trunking from the meter boxes. But I was pleased with the way it was handled, considering the restrictions in place. Now whilst all of this work was underway, the team did a good job of limiting debris, tidying up as they went. The master power switch was connected up, although power wasn't on yet, of course. Then the internal fixings and settings of the battery unit were finalised, before the front cover was fixed in place. Now the cover is made of glass and represents a point of weakness. We have to be careful when carrying things near the unit to ensure we don't knock it. It would probably take some force to cause damage to it, but we make sure we don't find out. Both installers worked on the final fixings and testing for the backup gateway unit, and once complete, the glass front panel was attached to that unit as well. Many cables run between this unit, the fuse box and the meter cupboard, and they were enclosed in flexible sheathing to try and tidy the area. Now of course it's visible at the front right side of the house, However, we chose this location to be able to install easily near the meter cupboard, as well as positioning the glass-fronted backup gateway in a raised location for protection. Now, once everything was ready, the power was connected and the battery went live, indicated by the small Tesla logo lighting up on the Powerwall battery itself. The installers guided us through the setup of the Powerwall in the Tesla app, which was quite straightforward. It was linked to the Wi-Fi, so it's then able to communicate and seamlessly get updates when needed. Now, we have access to a range of statistics through the My Home section of the Tesla app. We're able to see the current power and energy draw on the home screen. Plus, there are areas for energy use stats, impact data, plus settings. In the settings, we're able to configure things like how much energy to keep back as a reserve, should there be a power cut. A Tesla recommends 20%. Plus, there is a Storm Watch option, which will, if selected, automatically increase the power stored to 100% if a storm is imminent. But we chose to keep this at 10% though, because our primary driver is to make our heat pump as cost effective as possible. Now, you can also set up whether you have permission to export energy to the grid, which is much more important if you have solar panels fitted, which we don't. We did, however, seek permission to export, which was granted a couple of months later. We don't export anything of note, but in theory, if we stored enough energy at a cheap rate, we'd make a tiny profit by exporting it back. But when you take into account the high cost of the battery, which was £7,312 fitted, making pennies off of re-exporting energy isn't a viable option. We were given an initial instruction booklet on the day, and then we were supplied with a handover pack about a week after the fitting. Now, whilst the day of the fitting did appear to go well, there were a couple of issues that came to light after the day itself. Now, you'll recall that we requested that the EV charger should bypass the battery and that the heat pump should be powered by the battery. Firstly, we noticed a couple of weeks later that the EV charger was draining the battery, not coming directly from the external mains. This wasn't immediately apparent because we normally charge at night when the battery is also recharged. It was only when we did some charging during the day that we saw the battery drain quickly. A support ticket was raised which took 10 days to respond to, as per Octopus terms and conditions. The next available appointment to resolve was mid-September, which was a month after the battery was fitted, but that did resolve the issue. Secondly, mid-October, we realised that the heat pump was not using the battery. Now, we hadn't noticed until that point because the heat pump had only been drawing power off-peak prior to then. But once cooler weather came, it started warming the house during the day, drawing power from the external mains rather than the battery. Again, we raised a support ticket, but this time they didn't respond until we chased them after 15 days. Now, this was disappointing and reflected the increased interest in Octopus, with the support function not keeping pace with the change. We finally heard back early December. Now, they questioned the communications we'd had before and during the fitting to ensure that they were clear on what we'd requested compared to what had been installed. We were able to provide written evidence from emails prior to the fitting, so they were happy to arrange a follow-up appointment. Now, this happened on 24th of December. That's roughly 4.5 months after the initial fitting. Now, this visit did resolve the issue, with the heat pump then drawing power from the battery. I spoke to the support team about compensation and provided them with my calculations for the increased cost we'd borne compared to if we'd been able to power the heat pump with off-peak energy. Now, this totalled £181, which in mid-January they agreed to reimburse. All in all, we're very pleased with the battery. Our only issues were the two fundamental things we'd requested prior to and during the install. These were resolved once we chased up, although the time frame for this wasn't ideal. Now, it has been pointed out by viewers of the pre-install video that this is an expensive battery and my initial estimations of payback period were some way off. There are much cheaper batteries that can be installed that would improve the payback period. In truth, I don't mind, as it was my choice to go with Tesla so that I could take advantage of the integration within the app for my existing Tesla. But you should be aware there are cheaper options available. Well, thanks for watching, folks. Hope you found it useful. Please do leave your comments about whether you've gone with an install of this or whether you've had similar issues with Octopus. And please remember to like the video to help out my channel, and also subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on further videos. Well, thanks again for watching. Until next time, bye!